I think we need to come up with new ways to help our government make money. That's neither here nor there. As the legislature kicks off, just know you, Texans, are going to get the shaft, and they're going to pass a bunch of BS bills that nobody cares about except special interest groups. Do you need some low-price cigarettes? Yeah, low-price cigarettes. The cost at the pump is only $2.89 a gallon, but low-cost cigarettes. So for those of you wondering, gas was actually roughly the same price in Texas as it was in Albuquerque. So it's about $2.46, $2.50 a gallon here at this cute little dump in Tuya. But, yeah. Now we got the rental started here. This thing has been a disaster almost from the beginning. See, I'll always hear about us teasing Lubbock, and Lubbock or leave it, Lubbock this, Lubbock that, them poor good Christian people up there in Lubbock, the Mormons up there in Lubbock. You hear us making jokes about Lubbock all the time, these poor saps that live up here in Lubbock. And they're good people. We love them old Red Raiders, old Texas Tech people. But just throwing this out there, and I've made this comment many times before, that Texas is like 20 states in one. You can't govern everybody to suit the people back over there a couple hundred miles to the east within the triangle. For those of you who may not totally understand that because you don't really leave the triangle, I'm going to show you. You see, there's a funny thing about these people up here in Lubbock, out here in West Texas, up here on the high plains. People that don't live in the hill country, they don't live in the triangle, they don't live in the bubble within the bubble. You see, here's the thing. The rules that are made back in these big cities and for these big cities don't necessarily work for people out here and out there and over there. And, you get the point. You see, I know that that's hard for you to understand, but as a recovering triangular in Exon, which is a Texan who lives in the triangle, or as we call them, the Hill Country Texans, the people who live in the Hill Country, there's a whole other place that exists where your stupidity doesn't work. Like South Texas, as you can see, West Texas is one of them. The thing about this is, and I mentioned this when I was out in Nevada in one of the other videos, is freedom. You have to have some freedom, okay? Freedom is a good thing. That's what America was built on. Freedom is not freedom with restrictions and freedom with fences and freedom with rules and one size fits every bum. That just doesn't work. That's another version of communism. You're creating a ruled dictatorship communism that fits your view. That doesn't work everywhere. That's not Texas. See, I want to remind our friends there at the Texas Ledge as they go into session and they try to create rules for the triangular Texans, the people within the triangle, to keep in mind that those rules that they make don't necessarily fit. Things like school choice, privatizing public services, things like that. All this bullshit that they come up with, it doesn't work for these people, and it doesn't work for a vast majority of Texans. It just works for a few people in the population centers that you're trying to control to vote. So I want to remind you, as we start this legislative session down in Austin in a few days, don't forget, your choices and your ideas affect people who live here, and they affect people who live outside of the triangle and outside of the bubble and the hell country and all that stuff, okay? Just because you feel like you have to regulate these people doesn't mean that you have to regulate all of these people exactly the same. That's why Texas is independent, not Republican, not Democrat. Texas is actually independent because these people, even though you don't see many of them, can see through the crap. You see, it's things like school choice hurts these people out here. It doesn't benefit them. In fact, it only takes money away from their schools, from their communities, school choice doesn't work out here. It only works in Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, maybe Austin. Maybe in those little pocket cities, which coincidentally is where the Republican donors and the Republican voting base really are. Now, the Democrats just have not left the Republicans anything to deal with. The Democrats don't have anything. There's no clear leadership. There's nobody there that can buck the system. So the Democrats are off the table. It's going to be to the good Republicans, the independent-minded, open-minded thinking Republicans, to get out here and actually do something to send a message to those Bubblicans or the Triangularkins or whatever we want to call them, to send the message to them that they're stupid. I mean, they're stupid. And they're stupid trying to legislate all of these cotton fields in all of Texas the same way that they restrict and regulate the Bubblicans and all these other people that live in the Triangle. You've heard me quote Chris Christopherson many, many, many times and say that freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. Well, maybe. With 75-mile-an-hour speed limits, limited law enforcement, limited services, limited bullshit goes a long way. And out here in West Texas, far West Texas, and on the high plains, you see how all that bullshit that works for you people in the Triangle doesn't work for everyone else. And that's my point. But it's not just Texas. It's everywhere. It's the United States. The rules in New York don't work in Nevada. The rules in Nevada don't work for people in New Hampshire. It doesn't work that way. You see, the real thing is you have to leave this up to the states. And that's, unfortunately and fortunately, how it's got to work. You see, America is not like one big country. We're more actually like the EU. Let me explain that. So the reason I say we're more like the EU is that I am allowed to drive from Texas through New Mexico, through Arizona, and into Nevada, all around Nevada and all that without stopping to show a passport or anything else. But the rules and the laws change drastically. Now, here in Texas, our laws are pretty religiously strict, okay, conservative. Very, very, very religiously conservative. In New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada, not so much. I wish I would have taken a picture of this, but there's a law firm up there west of Amarillo on I-40 that says, "Welcome to Texas, you're now a felon." And his number was like 1844 weed or something like that. It was pretty funny. But I want to remind you of this, that the laws change drastically state to state. And I keep hearing people say that we're one big country. We're not. The Civil War divided us. That's what it did. It created 50 little countries, for better or for worse. So instead of thinking of us as a country, maybe we're right to be divided. Isn't that what the Civil War was fought over? Division? So, I hope this all makes a lot of sense. I know this has been pretty deep for some of you, and some of you are kind of slow to catch on, especially those of you who hang around the political circles. But, yeah, keep in mind, that's how this works. There's you bums and the rest of us. And your Civil War created it.